and what are the expectations around how it interacts with the old app and the new app, and then like and there are some things that are kind of like the middle, like decisions. This is like to be decided. It's stuff that like we'd kind of like in the like MVP version, but I don't know if they're all feasible or possible. Like there's some things that I'm like, I imagine it's not a lot of work, but a dev might tell me otherwise, or things that I imagine is a lot of work and a dev might tell me that is not a lot of work. So I want to also go through this, answer all these questions of like to be decided, and then also go through like stuff that we're going to include, but maybe not, like probably not in the very first version. This is like the fast follow list here. And then the final version of Giveth, which is like the ultimate V6 version that has everything that we hoped and dreamed, so that when we're building this foundation with the MVP version, we're also thinking of like, what's our final destination? Because, for example, the first version doesn't have give power boosting. We don't need to worry about give backs. You don't even need to create a project. But Giveth V6 final version, you will need to create a project. You will need to be able to boost. And the way that we do those things, like we're setting up the foundation right now. Even actually, it's already being built. Like I know that Ramin and Ali have already been working on like some of the core services. So I want to make sure that we're all super duper aligned on all these things. And then another just like quick, since I'm just dumping ideas here, I want to talk also about like here deadlines and things. Like basically in January, we want to run a QF round for Ethereum security. So like with this whole like DAO funds thing that Griff's been very excited about, we're going to be basically applying to run one of the first like Ethereum security funding things, which is QF, which is using our new cart feature on the new app. And this would be in January. So like that's our first deadline. Our first deadline is kind of like whenever we can in January. Mid-January better, end of January okay, but like we got to kind of aggressively get to that point, and it needs to have QF, it needs to have a cart feature, and this is the very first foundation layer. And then kind of after that, there's like talks with people like the Elton John Foundation and like the UNDP things, and the sort of like Web 2 type audience who also is like interested in running QF rounds, and their wants and needs are kind of like account abstraction and fiat donations and the easy on-ramping and off-ramping. So that's kind of like second deadline. We're thinking kind of like then mid to end of February when we want to have like the second deadline thing with all the fiat stuff. And then like the final version, I don't think we have like a super aggressive deadline for it, but yeah, I mean, so those are basically our timelines. It's like this first version, we kind of have this like month. We've got like December, part of January to deliver something. What exactly are we delivering? And like, how is this like the best foundation for where we're going to be going, like, you know, next year in March with the final version? So that's kind of like my main goal. I know it's kind of like funny, like we've already been starting to talk about all these different things, but like, I don't feel like the scope is like totally clearly defined for everybody. And we don't all mentally have the same scope. So that's like my hugest goal for the call. Other things I thought, so once we go through that, I want to go through like the work that Ali and Ramin have been doing and talk about kind of like the services, making sure that they're all making sense and that the work that's kind of being started is like aligned with the scope. Same thing, like I think we could go through the design. Like Mo already has a lot, like I would say like 80% of the way or 90% of the way done on like what the cart feature would look like. So I think that'll also help to kind of like illuminate some things as we're going forward. I want to talk about also like leadership and management stuff. Like we talked a bit about this before, you know, I'm going to like manage the initial setup stuff, and Mary Jaff is going to do a lot of the managing of the timelines and the developers for like making sure that all these issues are getting through, as well as doing QA. So I want to talk about that. And also Mary Jaff started working on a great test plan document, this QA strategy for Giveth V6, which kind of affects the way we develop things. So it's like, let's develop things with like testing in mind, like implement unit testing and stuff as we're creating features so that we have like a much better version that's much easier to test and we end up with much less bugs in the future. So this is like our super packed agenda with tons of things in it. And I'm really like raring to go and eager to get started, but I do want to give everyone a chance to speak, but try to keep check-ins short if you can. Let me know what your intentions are if you have any distractions. And yeah, I'll start with Madi.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, no distractions. I'm mostly going to be an observer, I guess, but yeah, super happy to be here. I pass it to Mo. Happy to see you here, brother.
Hi, thanks. Okay, so I have no distraction, and my intention is kind of like get to know. I mean, what's the plan and what we are going to do next. I pass it to Keiji.
Thank you, Mom. Oh, check. What is the agenda? Will I be included in the active development of new version? And no distraction for me. And I will pass to Mary J.
Thank you, Kechi. Hello, guys. For me, no distraction. And my main goal for this meeting is to understand the project timeline better. For example, when we can expect to have the final design and when the issues is ready based on the design and actually when we can realistically plan our first sprint for new Giveth. And I want to know the initial deadline for delivering card feature. And for now, I know it, the January. And yeah, that's it. I pass it to Ali.
Thanks, Mary Jeff. Hello, guys. My intention is to hear updates and what feature we need to have in the V6 actually, and the timelines, and yeah, our plan for what we should do, what we should have in the new in Atlas in MVP and in next phase, and no distraction. I pass it to Ramin.
Thank you, Ali. Hello, everyone. To be honest, I have two intentions. My intentions are to be clarified on two different things. The most important is the donation handler. That is my main concern about meeting the January deadline. And the second one is the AA wallets that we already talked about it, and Griff already sent a voice. I have checked that, I think it 3 times, but I still have some questions about that. But that's not a blocker. Still, my main blocker is the donation handler. Yeah, I pass it to Ashley. Did you go?
Thanks. No, I haven't gone yet. Um, Basically, I mean, I'm feeling the cohesion vibes and like trying to find alignment with the team. So I'm kind of here for that, so I can get an idea of the bigger picture. So mostly, I'm just going to be kind of a fly on the wall listening. I'm also recording this call, and then it will let me know on what I can give feedback on later. But for the most part, I probably don't have too much to add. I'm excited to hear about all of the new stuff, though. And I'll pass it over to Gardner.
Hey, hey. Distractions always in the mornings as the kid gets out to school and I'm preparing for other calls and wrapping up other calls. A little bit of chaos, but the kid has gone, and so I'm a little more settled. And the intention for me really is to start to be more of a cheerleader from the sidelines, and make sure that Lauren has everything she needs to kind of make sure that move this project forward to success. And here for any questions. I do have to leave at the half hour for another call, as Unicorn is always a distraction on my side. And I will pass to Kai.
All right. Yeah, I'm not very distracted for now. Could change. And yeah, I'm very excited for this call. So let's hear what's up. Who has to go still? Griff?
Yep, I think it's me. I'm mostly here just to like add color and hopefully help us cut scope as much as possible so that we can hit a very tight deadline. And other than that, I'll just be distracted doing random stupid things in the background that are mindless, hopefully. Did everyone go? Who's missing? Did Mo go? I think
everyone went.
Everyone
Good
went.
job, guys. It's always so great when we pass it around to everybody with like no repeats. It's like so seamless. Yeah, okay. I think the probably best price to start is just to like get real clarity on the deadlines, because I think that's kind of like it's the foundation for the foundation. Yeah, I mean, what I know, and Griff, maybe you can add to this, is like I said at the beginning, the first thing we have to meet is like this whole Ethereum security thing. So without like diving too much into that, because we did talk about it in other calls, and if you don't know about it, just like message me. Yeah, I can answer. But we're basically like, we've got this big fund. Giveth is going to manage this big fund and basically be like running rounds like Gitcoin does for like GGs, with that like funding pool. And like Giveth is also going to be like one of the first people to run around with money from that pool. And the project set would be projects that are Ethereum security based, and we want to run this QF round in January. Is there a harder deadline than that, Griff?
No. I mean, we want to do a good job, so it's not something that we should just launch V6 and be like, okay, it's done. Let's do QA during the round. Like, so it needs to be done and then also really well tested and running test rounds and like feel like, oh yeah, we can put this in front of Left Harris and he's not going to roast us on Twitter, right?
Totally. But so it's kind of like flexible, but in January.
Flexible, but in January, mostly because, guys, we're short on cash. Like, I need it before the January payroll, okay? Like, let's just be real here. That's the deadline. We need it before January payroll.
Okay. Cool. All right, cool. So, yeah, I mean, for this, so I think that creates that sets the foundation for the needs as well. Like the Ethereum security round, like most donors are going to be crypto donors. So like all the stuff we want to do with like the fiat on ramping, I think that's like the first MVP scope that could be cut. If we can have that in, cool, but that's not like a January need. It's more of like a January question. January needs include bulk checkout feature, QF works, projects can get in the round, we can export donations and like run COCM. Yeah, I mean, I think we can just like start going through like because that's what I was thinking when I started writing this stuff. So like with the MVP must-haves thing, I mean, I'll just go through my list, and then when we run into anything that has like a question or like an issue, we'll stop there and discuss it.
Maybe I could just add one thing.
Yeah.
If we needed to, we could make the round 3 weeks, and certain things that are like end of round, like COCM or stuff, maybe that could even be like, we need to be able to have all the features that can start around by the time we start. And then if certain things need to be added or could be added later, like the end of round calcs and stuff like that we want to automate or something like that. Like maybe that could also be considered.
Okay. And so that could be like, I mean, basically we want to start the round before the end of January, but it could be 3 weeks and mid-Feb. Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, fun. Like must-haves. So I think, Ramin, you had also, this is like one of your first point of things that you have questions about is the donation handler. I think the donation handler is like a must-have for this because I think we need the donation handler in order to have the smart contract bulk checkout thing, which is like the foundational requirement for this QF thing. So the idea is that like we basically have, similar to causes, we have like a smart contract that like basically is like funds go through that and then they go out the other end to the project addresses. And there's just, I guess, like one contract per chain that we have to support. We do want to support all the EVM chains that we can feasibly, like at least all the ones that we currently have. But in the MVP, we won't have Solana or Stellar or Polygon ZK because Polygon ZK is basically dead. But yeah, so we would need kind of like a donation handler contract on each of those chains that funds go through and then they get dispersed to projects. And then we also need to integrate like EIP 7702 and 5792 to have batch transactions and like cart checkout. Yeah. Oh yeah, no need for Ether Classic either. I mean, I think like all the EVM chains we can like feasibly comfortably support, but at least the major ones, like if we go at least like the major 6, like Polygon, Base, Optimism, but like that's also, discussable. Ramin, what was your question or issue with the donation handler?
Do we have the smart contract in all the different chains, or should we develop it?
I don't know. I think
we'll need to deploy it. I don't think we need to develop it.
Yeah, I mean the one we use.
Can I have the? Can I see the smart contract?
Is it the same one we use for causes? Is it the same one we use for causes?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we use it for causes in, I think, Polygon network, and it works with Giveth token. It should actually work with all the tokens actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Hey, everyone.
Yeah, and so we need to basically deploy that contract on every chain that we support.
Yeah, on every EVM chain we can deploy the same contract. So yeah, we can have it in all the chains.
Yeah. Cool. I'm going to, yeah, great. Gardner shared the doc, and I also posted it here in the Notion for you, Ramin. Yeah, and then so that's like the core. As far as like logins and wallet stuff goes, I mean, the very basic thing we need is like WAGMI so that people can sign in with an Ethereum wallet and donate. Yeah, but like I think we should start like we need to have a better way of recording like users. They're like user IDs, donor IDs than we currently have that aren't EVM chain based. So we should use like UID or UUID for that. And then the other change for that like whole like login thing improvement on what we currently have is like integrating with ENS. So it's like when you have your wallet connected, instead of saying like 0x garbledygook, it says like karmatic acid.eth. And same with like on donations, instead of like putting their address if they don't fill out a donor profile, we show their ENS name. And so I think like with all of this, we also need like to have like the donor profile to be part of like the new app. And like recording users, like recording donors as users. Cool. Okay. So, and then like here I have like interaction between V5 and V6. We talked a little bit about this in the stand-up as well. So the MVP for V6 is just QF. So the user flow is like if you went to giveth.io, what you're looking at is our old homepage and the old project list. And if you wanted to create a project, you're clicking on the old giveth.io and you're creating a project there. And the created project gets saved in the old database. And then the new Giveth.io, the V6 version, is like looking at the old database to find project information, to find project name and description and recipient addresses and all the stuff that we currently have just for this like first version. And I'm like, is this very complicated or should I don't know. I think creating a new create a project flow in the new app is like extra scope that we shouldn't do. But this is kind of like was Griff's suggestion. I want to make sure everyone kind of understands it that we're doing for this current thing. If there's any like debates to mention them. But
Und das Freakshot, Oma.
oh Kai, you're not muted. Kai, mute yourself. Well, okay. Okay, left. Great. All right. Yeah, cool. So basically, like you create a project in the old Giveth app, but then if you wanted to donate to the project in the QF round, you would actually be looking at that project in the new round. So like we're saving in like the new database donations that are happening to that project in the QF round. That's not getting pushed to the old database. That's only being saved on the new database in the new QF round. So it's like we're starting to build a new database of donor user profiles and donations that are happening to projects in QF. And I think we also need to kind of be creating like, I don't know, pulling the project information. I don't know how we're going to be like saving that in the new database if we're not like pulling all of the data over and managing all that. But I mean, I feel like this is kind of like a problem that maybe you guys have already been thinking about, like Ali and Ramin. But if not, start thinking about it now.
I'm still confused with the give power thing, you know, on single project page, because the single project page will load on the new app or on the old app.
I think the project single page needs to load on the new app because we'll need to include on the project single page like information regarding the active current QF round. Like you should see the donations that are happening to that project in the QF round under the donations tab. Like we don't need to show all the all-time history of donations that ever happened on the old app. What we do need to show is project name, description, the recipient addresses on whichever chains, picture, like that basic information. And then in like the donations tab, we're saving the QF data that's happening on the new app only. And that's what's kind of like being saved to the new database.
So give power, is that right? And users can no more assign do power boosting to the project.
They can't boost the project on the new app in this first version. Like we will in the final version of Giveth have give power boosting as part of it. So we should keep in mind that that's coming. But like for just this like running the QF round stuff, we should include like read-only data about give power, but we'll disable and hide all the boost buttons so you can't affect it on the new app. But also projects like on the projects page, like the all projects page for the QF round, should be sorted by default according to their give power, which is read from the old app, you know?
But you know, developing the give economy and give power from scratch in the new application may take like 3 months. So in the meantime, no one can change the boosting of a project, and or no one can boost a new project.
They can.
Yeah.
They'll just have to go to the they'll have to go to the single project page, not through QF, but through Giveth.io explore project. So if they go to Giveth.io/explore projects, they find their project, they'll see the boost button there, but they won't see it when they're going around and scrolling through QF projects. They won't see the little rocket ship. They will see the information that's supposed to be on the page, but they won't be able to boost the project while they're in a QF round.
Yeah, that's the confusing part because we have two separate backend and two separate databases, but one domain. And when user opens the single project view, Lauren just said that we should redirect user to the new app, and
No,
in the new app,
No. You should, if you're looking at the single project page within that QF round, like it's like we have on the new app, there's an all projects page that shows project information that the new app is like reading from the old database. It's like pulling that information to show the project cards. And then if you click a project from that page, you see a project single page in the new app. And it's like a QF version of the project page, like kind of like the old QF version that we used to have, where you can see some estimated matching, you see amount raised in the round, number of contributors in the round, and it's like the QF round-based project single page. The thing is, we're going to have two project single pages for every project while we have
exactly.
this weird transitional period. Yeah, you could go to the old app, go to the old project single page, click the boost button, and that works. Here in the new version of the app, boost button is just hidden. I mean, you can see give power tab, you can see how much they have because it's like being read from the old app, but you don't see the boost button, because you can't click it, because you can't interact. Like, we don't want to be like sending data to the old database, but we could be reading data from the old database while we're like starting a new, better database structure.
Yeah, I think it's still confusing because we are redirecting user in different pages. We are guiding user to the new app from old app to the old app from old app to the new app.
we the idea is that boosting is not very heavily used, so very few people actually boost projects, and we just can cut that from scope when they're exploring QF. And if a project wants to boost themselves, we can put it in a Notion document that says go here, to boost your project. But for most QF users, the 1,000 users who are just donating, they don't boost. So we just remove that button. We don't even redirect them. We don't say, hey, you can boost over here. We don't do that at all. We just take out the boosting feature from the user journey of donating in a QF round.
I was go. Actually, my suggestion is to use two different apps. Like we have a specific app for QF that can be reached via qf.giveth.io. So it's completely separate. What do you think about that?
Totally.
Yeah, exactly.
If you go to Giveth.io and you go to the drop-down menu and you click quadratic funding, then you go to qf.giveth.io.
Yeah.
So this way we have two different single project page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the new one only shows information regarding the QF round. Only the information that we gain from people interacting with the new version. It doesn't show any of the donation data from the old app. The old app will show all the historical donation data, and I think we'll need to make some decisions later of like if we want to like port over all the donation data from the old database, restructure it into a new database, but that's going to be like a lot of weird work that like we're not going to manage right now.
Yeah, and for the new database, actually, we need to, for example, for the project, we need to pull data from old database to new database, and we need to have some jobs to sync data from old database with the new database.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
We don't need to push data from new database to old database. For example, new donation will not be able to see in the old app.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we only have the new app.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, I know that's like a bit confusing and weird. And like, still open for debate if we're like, no, we want to totally like, I don't know. The thing is, we really only have limited time. So this is like a kind of idea. It's an idea to cut scope. Like we're cutting out the entire scope of create a project. But if you guys think like, well, create a project's going to be totally easy, even with all those bells and whistles, we should just do it at the same time. We can talk about that like now. But let me keep going through like the rest of the features here that we have.
Lauren, is it okay if we just stick on this for just like 2 more minutes? Because I would love to hear if Ramin and Ali think that this is the right approach for cutting boosting from scope of QF.
Yeah. Well, but it's not just cutting boosting. The thing is it's cutting boosting, it's cutting create a project, and we're losing all of the historical donation data. So it's like more than just boosting. But yeah, go ahead. We can spend 2 minutes.
Why we are losing the historical donation data?
Well, we don't want to copy over all of the historical donation data into the new database. Unless you're like, that's easy to do. We'll just take all that donation data, restructure it in the new database. That makes sense to do. Like, I mean, okay, cool. But
I think also we got feedback that the historical data kind of confused people during the QF round, and they expected to only see the data for the current one, right?
Yeah, but that's not the question of should we keep that data in the new app. That's the question of like how do we display it on the front end, which like we're going to solve through design.
Okay, but can we stick on the topic of boosting? Like, do you feel like this approach, Ramin, is an okay approach that we just like, that we have 2 different applications, 2 different project cards, and the QF round is kind of, its own thing. Like you can't just navigate to all projects, for instance. You're only gonna, when you're at qf.giveth.io, you only see QF projects. They have their own project card, and boosting is not enabled.
I think it's the best approach for now, but we should try our best to do the migration as soon as possible and move all the functionalities to the new app and just delete the old database.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that sounds great. And if we want to do that like now sooner rather than later, cool. But that's why I want to keep going through the rest of what we have here so that you can have a clear idea of like this is all that would be. And then if there's like, oh, we should really move all those things into the December timeline, like great, we can do that.
But what Ali suggested, actually, I didn't understand. Ali, can you explain it again? You said that we don't need to sync the project data from old database to new database.
No, we need it, but we don't need to push data from new database to old database. For example, pushing new donation to old database. But for project, we need to sync from old database to our new database because the projects are only be updated and edited in the old database, in the old application, and we need to pull this data in the new app.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. Because I thought you said that we don't need to pull data from old database to new database, but maybe I was wrong. Actually, you got disconnected for a moment, and I was confused.
Cool. Okay, good. I think we're good on the same page now. I'm like, we really only have so much time. Let's keep powering through. So, okay, I think that's clear. If it's not, like, put something in the chat and we'll add it also to keep talking about. But I want to move on to like the cart feature just to have that clear for everybody too. This is how I'm understanding it. And I think it makes sense with what I understand how it would work technically. For QF, basically like, I mean, a project can be in multiple QF rounds simultaneously, although it's unlikely that in January we'll have to manage that. But the user will basically like add project to cart, And then once the project is in their cart, it gets added to some round. It's actually, if you look, I have the designs. Yeah, great, it loads. I have the designs here that Mo has been working on, and basically you click add to cart. The copy's wrong, and then it'll add into your project cart under a particular QF round. And then when you go to the checkout page, you have basically your cart is ordered, organized in round buckets. So the project is in that round, the project and a different project's in another round. The user will need to select a chain that applies to all donations in a particular round, because what we want is a single batched, bulk grouped donation per QF round. Not per round, not per checkout, but per QF round. So when I'm trying to donate, I could basically set up my cart and I'm like, I want to donate to Super Duper round on Polygon chain and the best round ever on Optimism chain. And then basically I have to also pick only one single token for each QF round. So it's you pick a chain and you pick a token for each QF round, but you could have different combinations for if there were 3 rounds concurrently. And then when I click donate, I get the number of transactions corresponding to the number of rounds. So just one single transaction for one round that bulk distributes that token to all those projects on that one chain that the user selected for that round. So, I mean, the design is looking really good here, Mo. I haven't actually finished going through them, but this is really making sense to me. So user builds a cart with multiple rounds. Each round only has one chain. There's one transaction per round. A checkout can include multiple transactions that correspond to multiple rounds. So a checkout can include multiple chains, but only one chain, each round is only on one chain. Each round has one transaction, and then there could be a number of chains if there are a number of rounds. And then, yeah, as far as the transactions failing or not, if we had one chain transaction fail, it doesn't mean that all of them should fail. A different round's transaction could go through, and then you'd be like, oh, your donation to Super Duper round didn't go through, but your one to best round ever did. There's no fiat in the initial cart checkout thing, no recurring donations, and you can't have multiple chains or multiple tokens for a single round. Is that how you guys are thinking about it as well? Or are there questions on the cart checkout stuff?
We need to do this transaction via the donation handler, right? Because we need to actually separate the tokens between projects. So it's better to do it donation handler, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So the single transaction goes through the donation handler to the projects. And this is all done with that 7702 or 59, those EIP numbers that you guys know about that I only vaguely.
And for example, in the project donation page, we need to show actually TX hash of this transaction. They are all the same transaction hash actually.
Yeah. I think on the project single page donation tab or whatever that we're recording in the new database, we should include the link to that transaction that happens to be a bulk transaction.
Yeah.
But I mean, and then do we need to include multiple QF in the MVP scope? I mean, yeah, Griff's question is also really valid here in the chat. Do we need to include multiple QF in the MVP scope? Is there going to be a lot of work doing it? Maybe we dev it but not test it. I think that's totally valid. We don't need multi-QF in January, but we need to be building for it, So we could kind of we develop it but don't test it, Because I feel if we don't develop it, it's a whole other feature and makes it more complicated.
Yeah, we already have it in the new backend architecture.
Great. Yeah. So is that cool and everybody's aligned with that idea? And take silence as confirmation. Cool.
Yeah, it's
Great. Okay. And then, so for the project single page, project detail page, I don't know what I like calling it. You know what I'm talking about. Project detail page. In the new app, we talked about this a little bit already. New app has its own version of the project detail page. We're going to have a version that's for QF. The design isn't totally done for that yet. I mean, like I started talking to Mo about it. I think it's going to look kind of like how we did it before we did the multi-QF integration because people had some complaints, but we definitely want to be able to, like, with the multi-QF consideration, if a round is in multiple QF rounds, we want to be able to show different versions of the project single page based on how the user got there. And we did talk about this before, and Ramin, you were saying we could kind of do, I don't remember what it was called, but I imagine it as cookies. It's like filters, like in the slug. It's like question. It's
Query params.
Query params, exactly, yeah. So we could maybe handle it like that with like query params, but something to know that we'll need to handle. Yeah, because basically what users want is to be able to see like their performance for their project in the round as like primary data, not like all-time data, which like happens to confuse people. Donate page will need to show estimated matching. This is going to look the same as we currently do, but I know the estimated matching thing is kind of like a bit of a question. I think, like, so and I talked about this with Ramin a lot, in our current version of Giveth, in Giveth v5, we're calculating QF based on like just the quadratic funding formula. It's like taking the sum of the square roots and square rooting them. Sum of the squares, square rooting them, you know what I mean? And we're kind of like doing some front end calculations, like back end sends some data to the front end does some extra calculations based on what the user types in, and then we show an estimation. These estimations are pretty inaccurate because we don't calculate QF with that regular formula. We use the COCM formula for QF. I know in your check-in this morning, Ramin, you were saying that we're going to use like a Python service to do like COCM calculations that we could also use for doing like QF data export stuff and like the QF calculations at the end, which is like so cool, and we really, really would love. It doesn't have to be in the MVP, but I would love that. Because in the MVP, we could just do it like how we do it now. Someone exports like a CSV and then like Yegor runs it through the COCM like on his local COCM algorithm. But yeah, I mean, I guess like this is one question that I have is like, do we want to have estimated matching calculations done with COCM, or like use kind of the bad version that we like are currently using regular quadratic formula? But I do think it is simpler to manage, because the way that it works for COCM is like you calculate like a number for each project, and then we would have to basically like, it's like if we have the real-time matching for this project so far, a donation extra of this amount just to that project, how it would affect it. I feel like it's a bit like more complex. Like we'd have to be like double running all the donation data to see like the before and afters to see your impact on the estimated matching. And that is a question. Maybe it doesn't have to involve everybody though.
Yeah, can I jump in on this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that would really be like that helpful. Yeah, like to have it inside of there, because yeah, we would like need eventually to run multiple sets, yeah, of data and then compare it anyways, like somewhere in Google Sheet. Yeah, so it's kind of like if we can build something like super sufficient inside of that we can actually like play and customize, yeah, and actually like just upload CSV there, because yeah, sometimes we need to clean up the data, yeah, need to see what's happening with it, and yeah, I don't know if that would like really help much having it in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you're talking about a little bit of a different thing. You're thinking about like also the final matching numbers that we're calculating, which is like a different point. I'm just talking about the estimated matching
Okay,
on
yeah.
the donate page. And it's just like a kind of like
Okay.
simple question for like
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of like
yeah. Sorry,
or
go
Ellie.
ahead.
No, you're good. Which maybe we could even talk about like in an issue of like how we want to calculate like this one number, because it's just one number that appears one place. If we're going to be like running like a Python service that's constantly doing like COCM calculations, is it logical to be like getting all of that data repeatedly? How often should we get it? Like, because what we in the end need is when a donor goes to the donate page and they type in a number, we want to show estimated matching this much for that, you know, in their cart thing. So I'll create an issue for this where we can debate this, that like one particular item. So we can kind of keep burning through things. But yeah, and then also in the MVP spec, I mean, this is definitely necessary. We're going to need a way to manage the QF round. We definitely needed a way for an admin to add and remove projects to the QF round, because that's going to be like really time consuming if a dev has to do it. So like a very rudimentary admin panel where an admin can like manage QF round details would be great. These are all the fields that we have currently in our existing admin panel that are related to QF that I would like us to also, I mean, this is like, if we had all these things in the MVP version, then we could really efficiently run a QF round without like a lot of like extra developer and developer QF manager back and forth. But yeah, I don't think we need to like mention every single one, but they're all there. As well as like, we'll need to have like a passport scores being saved and model scores being saved and this like donor uniqueness thing. But yeah, I mean, so that's basically like what I have for like the very like base level MVP January requirements. The questions that are outstanding are like, yeah, I mean, extra other questions. I mean, we're even talking right now about like the chat is going off about should we cut multi-QF from scope overall or not? But like, I'll keep letting that develop in there. While go through other things. Project search functionality. I mean, like, should we allow users to be able to search on the page to find a project? Does that add a lot of extra work? Is that really just easy? Because if it's easy to have the base level search version that we have, I'd like to have it. But Griff was suggesting that maybe we should even cut that from scope.
I think we can.
I'm talking. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, if it's not a lot of extra work, I think it's really useful to be able to search projects. What I would like in like fast follow, like next version, final version, semantic search, where you could type in like DSci and it would come up with projects that are like related to DSci, but not necessarily called DSci, you know? That would be great. But that's not in the MVP. Just wanted to mention it because I really would like it. And so do lots of people. This is the question. Go ahead.
For actually, for what you are looking for, I think we need to integrate the search with an AI agent or something similar, but like a more simpler version. The semantic search can be implemented with the native SQL search functions, like searching inside categories, description, and title.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Yeah, integrating with AI agent, I think it would be needs time, but yeah, the simpler version is easy.
Okay, great. So then that's just like search inside categories, description, and title. I like that.
Semantic
cool.
search, not the exact search. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Or semantic search. Oh yeah, well I guess that's not semantic search. As a base version can search the exact thing inside category, description, title. Cool. QF calculation and visualization dashboard. So, I mean, like, this is not required in the MVP. And if it is, I mean, this is kind of something that could be like a mid-February thing. Like, we could start the QF round and finish development on this. But yeah, I mean, I shared with you, Ramin, this GitHub repo before, and we talked a little bit about it. That's like pulls data from the back end, puts it all in like visualizations and shows like different clusters and stuff, and you can kind of like manage the matching funds in that QF calculator. And actually, Madi looked into this a while ago for me and is like pretty familiar with it as well. But yeah, like in the final version of Giveth, or in like the fast fall version of Giveth, a tool like this would really help make the data analysis for QF to be a lot faster. Like, what it does is it pulls like all the donation information, runs it through different calculations, and then like creates visualizations of the matching results and puts like projects in clusters and like addresses in clusters, so you can kind of see like the impact of the data on the results. So, I mean, I think this is also something that could be talked about a little bit more in depth, but yeah. Yeah, and then, I mean, I think like if we could have this, if we don't create something more advanced that like allows an admin to kind of manage the QF calculations easily, would be great if we had like a export CSV of all donation data from the admin panel, so that we could kind of like, we could do that easily at like different points without needing to kind of like get a dev to run a query and then export it and then like change one thing, you know? So that's like, hopefully, like that's MVP-ish. It's like a question. And then the other like thing that we have that's like very clunky with QF is like after the round is over, adding the matching data to the backend. We should have some way to do that. Like, we should have some way to like add the transaction, and you can kind of see what the matching data was and like what was the final matching number into the app. So, I mean, I'll create an issue for all those like QF things, and I feel like these are like really ones that like we don't need to necessarily have in the MVP. Oh, this is one. Applying for QF in the application, like in the app, like applying for a QF round in the app. So like we currently have with project verification, we have like a in-app verification form. You like fill it out, and then like you put addresses in, and then it automatically adds your addresses to our purple list, and that's very helpful. What we need, I think, so with this whole cart feature that we're talking about, one existing problem is that like not every project adds an address on every chain that's eligible for a particular QF round. So then we have this like multi-chain donor experience. You can kind of like, maybe you want to donate on Polygon, but like only 4 of the 5 projects you want to donate to actually have a Polygon address. That makes everything really weird. And it's going to be like really weird to have to manage that if we have a round that allows donations on like 5 chains, but like the projects don't have to add every address. So in order to like mitigate that problem, I'm like, let's force project owners to add an address on every eligible chain if they want to be in that round, so that we don't need to like handle all this extra complexity on like, how do we build the cart and how do we apply the chain and how do we apply the token. So what I would really like is for a way for like us to have it like the application form in the app, so that when the project owner is like filling out, like applying for QF, we're checking to make sure that they have an address on every eligible chain for QF. And if not, they can't submit the application. So they have to like go back and add an address. This also creates like, this is also kind of like creates some extra complexity. And like, I feel like it's like a problem that can be solved. But if we don't do that, like we basically need to like have like a different solution. Like maybe we make it so that all of the checkouts have to be on mainnet, and we force every project has to have like an address on mainnet or something, or we just do 1 chain per round. But like what we really can't do is like allow 5 different chains and not make a solution to this problem, because otherwise then we'll have like so much cat herding work between like Ashley and Yegor to chase projects to add addresses and stuff, and it's just going to make it like a whole big mess. So we kind of need to decide that. We're running out of time. An hour is not enough time. We have 2 minutes left in this call, so I didn't really actually get through everything. There's a couple of options that we could do right now. I mean, yeah, 1, I mean, we could keep going. 2, schedule another time. 3, I don't know. I don't know. Griff suggests let's go long. Who can stay longer and is willing to? Or who can't?
I want to say we should do more of these. We should do as many of these until we all feel we have done enough of them. But I cannot stay longer.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I feel like there's still like lots to talk about here. Why don't we do both? Let's try to stay an extra half an hour longer with whoever can. And I mean, the call is being recorded, so Ashley, can you stay longer and keep recording? Okay. Well, Ashley's staying and recording. We're just gonna keep going. I don't have anything to do right now. Nope, nothing. Yeah. All right, great. Cool. Okay, so then yeah, I would really like some feedback on that problem so that I know how to like create the issues for it. Like, is that problem understood in the problem? We want to absolutely enable donors to donate in a QF round on multiple chains because we want people to be able to donate where they have funds. That's ideal. If it's not possible, we could restrict a QF round to 1 chain so there's like less cat herding. But like the best ideal solution, if it's not too much to develop, would be to have an automated or like developed way so that like when a project applies, we double check to make sure that they have addresses on appropriate chains. And if not, then we have like an automated, like you can't, you have to. What do you guys think? Does that even make sense, or are you confused?
I think it's better to force them.
I think so too. But in order to force them, then we would need to build something, right? For that. Is building that thing going to be too complex and we're worried about the scope thing?
I think that there's a way to build it so in a minimal way so that it hits your qualifications but doesn't require a lot of work. For instance, before showing anyone the type form, you have to put your project, did you create a project? Oh, you haven't created a project? Yeah, sorry. Okay, now give us your project link. Oh, that doesn't have these addresses, Sorry, we're not giving you the type form, and then, oh, okay, so that we don't have to like do every single page in question and da-da-da. Maybe there's like a hybrid approach where we can force them to do these qualifying steps. And then, okay, you did it. Here's your form to fill out.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds fine with me. And actually, that sounds like something we would build in the old app.
I agree.
Because it's
That's
like,
exactly what I was thinking.
It's something we build in the old app. So it's like in the old app, we add something somewhere where we're like, we're checking with the old database, making sure that they have the addresses or not. And if they can't, they have to put their
I see this as like something that we could, I don't want to say exactly vibe code, but basically vibe code as a separate application that doesn't necessarily, it's not the old app or the new app. It's just like this very quick vibe coded application that can be done by a dev in a day, and it just reads the right data and doesn't give someone a type form link until they qualify.
Okay. All right, if nobody else has any opinions on that, I'm gonna like start with that idea and make it into an issue. And then whoever is assigned to it can have stronger opinions.
So each
Cool.
so each QF round will be activated only in one chain.
Well, no, each QF round will allow for multiple different chains. But we want to basically like not allow project owners to apply unless they add an address on every chain that the QF round supports.
Okay.
Third web integration. So this is like I mean, it was your second question in your check-in, Ramin. The account abstraction thing. Basically, like, so we want, maybe not right away, but if it makes sense to develop it right away, cool. To allow donors to donate in fiat. That's the first priority. I mean, like, first we want account abstraction for donors or like third web integration for donors, and then second for project owners. Top priority for donors because we want people to be able to donate in fiat when they want to. Like, so what that would look like is like they try to sign in, or like they click the sign in and it's like, do you want to sign in with wallet with like WAGME or whatever with MetaMask? And then they're like, I don't have a crypto wallet. And then it's like sign in with email. And then if they sign in with email, then it's like, cool, you can use a credit card to like basically like add funds to this like account abstracted thing that we created, like connected to your email, you know? And then they could be, you know, like lauren.give.eth, and lauren.give.eth can use her Canadian credit card to like load funds that then goes as a donation. Like this is kind of like the first thing that we want with this account abstraction fiat on-ramp thing for donors. And that's kind of like, that's like, here's the question is like, is that, do we want to start working on that right now in the MVP version too? Or should that be like next fast follow thing?
Actually, I talked with Yusef about this account abstraction thing and the third web integration. And he told currently we can connect the Unicorn wallet to Giveth application. And in that way, we can have this account abstraction and the things that you told. If a user don't have a wallet, we can connect actually with Unicorn wallet and create an account abstracted wallet with Unicorn for him.
I think, I mean, we have that, like that can be done currently now. I know that Griff didn't want to use Unicorn, but rather would want to use a direct integration with Third Web for some reason, which he could explain now.
Unicorn kicks people out to a separate wallet experience, and we want to bring it all in. And also, we don't need to include like this external dApps. We can just do all the features that we want to do with Third Web directly. So we don't need like to add Aave or something, you know? That's not, so most of the features that Unicorn provides, we don't need. We only need the Third Web features.
Yeah. Yeah, but because like Yusuf and Mahdi have experience building with unicorns, so like we should be able to kind of like do that third web integration in Giveth with their advice.
I have worked with TerWeb before in the Trigens app. I downloaded that with TerWeb. And it's really easy to integrate that with the current application. But if it's, if it's only about connecting the wallet through TerWeb, it's really easy.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it. It's like, I mean, you sign in with Third Web, it creates a wallet for you connected to your email, and you can use your credit card to like add funds there to donate. That's what we want.
I think that's what we have done.
Yeah,
Sorry, I think we've done this before. Not not the like topping it up with the credit card, but the whole, having both an account abstraction wallet and a custodial wallet thing with Pairboys as well. So I think we do have the experience, and also with Unicorn. So as Ramin said, I think it's an easy one. I think you know, I or anyone else on this team could deliver that, because what Third Web provides is like a EIP 1193 standard wallet, and it just seamlessly works with WogMe or any other like library that we use for handling the wallet connections and everything. So I think, yeah, I don't think we'll face any issues on that part.
Cool. So because it's so I hear, I mean, I hear possible, I hear good. I wonder, is this possible good do it now as well as the rest of the MVP features and deliver it in January, or is this like, yeah, let's do it, but let's hold off that until like after the Ethereum security stuff? Is it MVP or fast follow?
I think it depends on the priority. If it's high priority, it could be done. I could do it in a day or two. But if it's not high priority, you could delay that. But it's not a lot of work. I mean, if you look at the dev work needed, it's not going to be that much. It's not going to take like 3 weeks of time or anything like that.
I think it's worth delaying because it's not just the dev work, it's also the QA work and the, user testing, all these other things that we want to like put in, and there'll be screens and design and
I mean, that's the
we don't
question
need it for fiat.
Yeah. And I mean, the question I have is like, okay, if we integrate this, like, what does it have to look like for the user? Like when you're doing a cart checkout feature, do we need to have like, because I had an understanding that like we should have basically the UI say you're donating $, and then you like click like checkout, and then like what is the checkout flow experience like? I mean, if I don't know, my share screen always freezes. Is it frozen? No, you're seeing it.
This is exactly why we should cut it from scope, though.
Well, no, it's just a question. So, like, but like, is it just like if they're connected with Third Web, we just show everything in USDC because like we'll somehow have to force them to like put USDC in, or like how does it work when a user connects with Third Web? Yeah, like do they see everything? Do they see everything in dollars, or do they see everything in USDC and we send a certain call to their Third Web wallet that's like you must donate USDC or something? Or like use your credit card to put this much money in USDC.
What we did in Unicorn is that to save some confusion and streamline the process, we auto chose USDC, also because it always has the cheapest exchange rate. Like Coinbase will let you buy USDC for free, basically, without any fees. So we default to USDC, not even default. We only give them the option of loading with USDC, loading their wallet. And so then I think that just makes sense that we would just be like, oh, you're using fiat USDC, right? And then move on from there.
Okay. Yeah, it's still so like when the user is interacting on the app, like the front end will know if they're connected with Third Web, right? Like if they clicked some button and they're like, I don't have a wallet, like connect with Third Web or whatever, like the front end will know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I hear yes?
Yeah, I said true. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so we basically can kind of like, we should consider like what the UI should look like in the case that someone's connected with like Third Web. Like Mo already created here like if you donated, like you could select USD, and then it'll show you like dollars. Like you can like basically be like building your cart with dollars. And this would kind of be like the like donate in fiat experience. I mean, we could change all this to like USDC or something or think about it, but I guess that's like the problem I need to wrap my brain around. Yeah. And then yeah, so it's like, okay, like donate now or like donate with credit card or something. So it's like if when you click donate, then like is it going to say like you don't have enough money in your wallet, like add money to your wallet, or is it just going to say like what does it look like inside Third Web to the user when they're trying to like make a transaction? Like in the Third Web, like
we can choose that, right? Like we could say, oh, you don't have a wallet, like and then when they open up their wallet, we directly link them to, I mean, I would just really follow Polymarket's UX choices, but Third Web is an SDK, right? It's not like we're going to use Third Web's UI. We build the experience how we want to build the experience. And they have a lot of components, preloaded components, and like we shouldn't just design every component for them, but like there's like it's a million Lego pieces that we can just plug in and be like, actually when they open their wallet, we want them to start right away. They see, hey, buy crypto buy USDC on Coinbase. Like we kind of get to choose that flow.
okay, I think I have to look into it a little bit more. But yeah, thanks. Okay.
Yeah, try buying money on Polymarket. I know you don't like doing that stuff, but they're really the best.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, cool. Yeah, well, I guess so those are like my questions. So everything we talked about so far is like either definitely going to happen in January stuff or is like, slightly debatable. We talked about those slightly debatable things. The next stuff I have here is like the stuff that was kind of like we were thinking would definitely be not in the MVP, but is kind of like a high priority, like fast follow thing. But before I go to there, like, how do you guys like? Is that sounding like a reasonable amount of work for the MVP version? And are there like any questions on what we would currently have to build in January for January? Are you happy? Are you good? Are you listening?
Are you there?
Are you there?
Everybody are saturated with deadlines. I think the deadline is too optimistic, but we will see.
So do you think that we need to cut the scope further? I mean, there's all the things that we talked about that are like, maybe this, maybe that, like the like dashboard for visualizing QF stuff and like the fiat donations for donors and the Third Web integration. All this stuff is like, maybe this, maybe that, not required MVP. The required MVP stuff is cart feature, WAGMI login, the way we talked about like 2 projects, single pages, one on the old app, one on the new app. Some way of forcing users to add addresses so that the cart feature works out okay. The donation handler, and estimated matching, and an admin panel that allows an admin to manage QF. That's like our definite MVP. Does that sound like too much work?
But we are starting with new version. We should will include some stuff that are not related to the current website, but maybe future. We must have on our mind some tasks, some issues to prepare some code for the future integration. If we base our new version only for Giveth version 6 cart option, maybe we will miss some stuff. I don't know. For example, superfluid recurring donation. Maybe that.
It's there. It's here. We just haven't talked about it yet. It's in the final version stuff, but
It is final version stuff, but that is okay. But I have one other question. I asked Ramin and Ali. You put me on the current maintains mode on the Giveth. I think the most bugs are finished. I think 90% bugs are finished. We don't have some stuck issue there. I'm finishing, I think, the last one. Will I, Joseph and Mandy, help Ramin and Ali in new version this 1 month?
yeah.
Or
Yeah, I mean,
or we will stay out.
no, from my understanding is that, well, everybody in this call is going to be working on the new versions somehow. Like, I know Madi's mostly focused on the base app right now, but I
Okay.
actually, at the base app, I didn't talk about this. I don't even remember where I put it. By the way, Madi, I was thinking the base app should work with the new version. I don't know what you think. Like,
Why not?
Okay.
Why
here's the
not?
thing, like,
Put all
like,
that.
yeah, I know. Well, let me just tell you, like, let me just spiel at you. Like, we're getting paid to build the base app from Gardens, and there's a possibility for like more future funding. And they basically want to see like they want this money to basically be going to like making existing infrastructure better. If we're building this new app and it doesn't work with like the new stuff, like the new QF, it's a bit of a missed opportunity, especially considering the first thing that we use QF for is going to be Ethereum security rounds. And Farcaster is a place where lots of ETH people hang out. So if we had like a Farcaster like base app thing where you could like donate in the new QF round, like that would be, I mean, it would show to, it would be like good showing to them that we're actually taking this seriously, a possibility for extra funding, and would be a good way of getting like more donations in and kind of like, so anyway, this is kind of like, yeah, there you go, Madi.
Yeah,
Some
it makes
idea.
sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes sense. And I mean, once we do that for the current app, I mean, just repeating that for a new app, especially you know, it is still Giveth. It's a new app, but it is Giveth. So I think it's going to be way easier, like probably 1/3, 1/4 of the time span. So yeah, I don't think it's going to take more than a week of work once we have that for the old app, because you know the you know the order of the features is clear. The code is there. It's only like organizing things and putting the puzzle pieces together to make it work for the new app. So yeah, I think we're good for that.
Okay, good. Does it make sense to like be, I mean, I know you've already kind of like started a lot of the work with the old Giveth for this base app. Does it make sense to like shift focus to be like building from scratch concurrently with the new app so that like it all launches at the same time, or not really?
It's yeah. I mean, the thing that I'm doing right now is mostly on top of the app, so it doesn't really make sense to do that concurrently. It is, you know, it mostly works on top of an app. Like you have an app, you kind of migrate it to, you make it work with the base. So it's not like when you're starting the app, you need to do some like
Okay.
some work. Yeah, it's mostly on top of some already established work.
Okay. Okay, cool. Well, I think so, but then maybe like when we're building like the donation handler and like the bulk checkout transaction stuff, like, does it make sense? I mean, maybe you should be like at least looped in on that stuff happening so that you could start like, oh yeah, cool. I'm just gonna with the base app.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, once the basic stuff are taken care of, the login is there. The basic functionality of the new app is there. I think we could start working on the integration with base as well, because you know you don't need to wait for everything to be ready. Just the basic stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Great, cool. Okay, yeah, and then so like to just jump a little bit back to your question there, Ketchy, about like who's gonna do this work? Are you even working on this? I think yes. Like, I mean, I think like there's gonna be, you know, maybe some maintenance of the old app stuff, but like the new app, I mean, we should. I mean, this is our dev team here. You know, all you guys and Kai, and this is kind of like the biggest thing that we're building. So I know that like sometimes there's other needs and requirements that come up, or like Griff needs like Ali to do a QAC graceful exit or something, and he pulls somebody away. But like this is going to be like 80% of the development work we're doing. So
Yeah,
we should boost everything.
Yeah, I'm assuming that once now, you know, one of the big delays of getting everyone involved is that, hey, we don't have a good scope, designs aren't quite done, you know, all these things, right? And now once there's V6 issues piling up, you know, Ketchy, of course, you're the expert on V5. So if some problem happens, it's like, well, you got to prioritize that. That's your issue to catch. But if you're out of issues,
that is normal behavior. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you're out of issues, then boom, yeah, let's kick out some V6 issues, and then you know, Madi's getting pulled away for the base app, and Mike, and sometimes gets pulled away for unicorns. So, and then he's also going to maybe get pulled away for pairwise, but probably not until our MVP launch date. So, you know, it's like you and Madi get pulled away more than Ali and Ramin will, but I think it's like, let's just, you know, balance the workload and you know, manage our capacities and be prioritizing V6 as much as we can for everyone.
Let's boost.
yeah, and you know, so I'm gonna finalize the scoping, finalize the design, create good issues with like good acceptance criteria, and then Mary Jaff's gonna come in with like adding edge cases, anything that's missing, making sure that like the issues are being assigned. Mary Jaff is gonna also take over running like stand-ups and like hitting our deadlines for Giveth V6. So like we're gonna be a little bit of like a between Mary Jaff and I, we're gonna be like, you know, team leading this like that. So yeah, and then everybody else who's here is the team, right? Okay, cool. Well, if there's no other questions on like that MVP thing, I want to like, I think we can keep burning through. Tell me when you're like feeling fatigued and your brain stops working, but fast follow, post MVP stuff. So we talked a little bit about like third web integration, how it applies to donors. We also will want this to apply to project owners. The entire create a project flow right now is not in the new app for the first version, but that's something we want to include and improve in the next version. But we want to make project creation flow better. Like we want to use AI to like, instead of a project owner needing to go to ChatGPT and helping them write their project description, they could like use like an LLM within the project creation flow to like make it nice. Also, like we should solve all the existing problems we have in our project creation flow about like images and formatting and the videos getting weird, and like Ketchy's been working on this rich text stuff that's just like causing us trouble. So that's like project creation flow improvement. And then the other thing about like create a project is that we want to have account abstraction for project owners and like third web stuff. And I mean, this was even something, and I think this goes to your questions, Ramin, of listening to Griff's voice message over and over again, is like, we want project owners to have an easy experience of accepting funds on multiple chains and being able to consolidate them and then like send them to their exchange or off ramp them or wherever they need. But we also want to make it possible for a single project to be managed by multiple project owners. You know, like it's like you could have different managers on a single project, which we currently don't have. So instead of having like a project is like eternally connected to one person's EVM address will have it so that like a project is a thing, and then it can have multiple different project managers, and the funds that go to that project is going into like an account abstracted wallet that's like then easy for, you know, you can raise funds on all the different chains without needing to be like a super scientist on where to bridge to have that make sense. Yeah, so that's kind of like, yeah, I feel like this is like maybe a good pause point of like, because this is like a kind of discussion thing that has like probably some questions. Questions, thoughts.
Everybody understand everything. Everyone knows everything.
Everybody gets it. Everybody agrees. We all build it.
My brain stopped working.
Are you guys fatigued? Are we like, is this like too long? Maybe we should stop and schedule another meeting for another day if it's like everybody's just kind of like, you know, heart monitor just started going boo.
Maybe everyone should go through this document and check is something strange, is something mismeasured, if something over the scope of MVP, and put some comments. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I definitely think that's totally good. I mean, I could just like, instead of stopping and asking for feedback on things that I think are weird, I'll just like quickly read it out to you so you have like just like a little bit, it was thrown at your brain, and then everyone can go in here with like more final comments or like questions and stuff. Fast follow stuff, there's the project management stuff we talked about. We definitely want semantic search. Admin panel. So Ashley created this nice doc that like is her admin panel needs, which are related to verification, listing, givebacks eligibility, the givebacks form, all that will need to go in the new app. You know, like adding new tokens and adding the symbols and all these different things. So that's all there. And then in the very final version of Giveth, we're going to have kind of all the things that we currently have now. One thing for QF management, we'd like to make it easy that like instead of using Gitcoin Passport, we could use Self or another donor uniqueness thing. We want to make a good like API and have interoperability so that like project owners, like, and anybody could interact with our donation handler without needing to go through the Giveth front end. So like a project owner could have their website, put on their website, donate to me, someone clicks donate, and that's just on their thing. It doesn't redirect them to Giveth, but we know that donation happened and Giveth counts it. API partners should also be able to grab real-time data from Giveth, like donation stats and like whatever they want, you know. Like we also want to integrate with Karma Gap. Karma Gap is like used for milestone tracking and stuff, and they're doing like all kinds of like crazy BD stuff. So it's like when you create a Giveth project, we should also have it like create something on Karma Gap for you, so you could update your milestones, or you could like link to an existing Karma Gap thing that is already there. We do want to support in the future potentially non-EVM chains. So while Solana and Stellar are cut from this initial scope, Bitcoin is a lot of crypto. As we're kind of getting like bigger, and if this like is really taking off, we definitely want to be able to include Bitcoin donations or Solana donations or Stellar donations. So we should keep this in mind when we're like doing design and we're building structural things, not to just like lock ourselves into everything as EVM. Like for example, like our user IDs, you know, like we made that based on this EVM address, but then when we integrated the non-EVM chains, we're like, oh no, a problem. Remember, we need to have things kind of like chain agnostic, like foundationally chain agnostic, so in the future we can expand. Project owner features project owners are asking for ways to message their donors, to be able to export donations as a CSV, and so that's stuff that we definitely want to include like within kind of like manage my project. Project verification, devouch integration, we want to make that better. Instead of having to go to devouch to vouch for projects, you should be able to vouch on Giveth, and it like interacts with the devouch backend. Also, when a devouch project gets 3 vouches, then it should automatically become vouched or verified on Giveth without like Ashley needing to go and check and the bot doing a thing. Like this all just happens like automatically. We also want to add like AI agent support on like basic things for listing, unlisting, and verification. So like when like Ashley, you know, when somebody writes like they had a typo in their project and they go to their project and they correct the typo, then it gets unlisted and actually needs to look into it and click a button. An AI agent should be able to do that basic type of listing, unlisting stuff. And I also added a comment in like the other doc, Ashley, for you to add other things that, you know, maybe you could get support with, like for like in an automated way on verification. So it's like not like you know, we get a new QF run and you have 80 applications to go through. It's like just crazy. There should be like some AI support built in. Give economy will need to be in all the give economy is staying in the new app, not in the MVP, but we will have give power boosting. We will have stake and lock. There's actually an entire give economy redesign that was made about a year ago. Whoa, that was weird. That was made about a year ago that has like, I mean, it's pretty much like final designs for all this. So like, we're not building this now, but like, this is kind of like all in my account. You know, like my account is sort of like a different structure, and like you can stake in there, you can like check your give power, you can claim give backs. There's like this whole totally different way of interacting with the give economy. That's going to be in the final version as well. Recurring donations, like we like Superfluid because they give us incentives. We don't know necessarily if we for sure want to keep Superfluid. We might transition to a different type of recurring donation system. That's like to be debated, but it will be something we'll include, so keep it in mind. Causes will also stay. Cause markets, so like causes with like token economies behind them is something that we want to build as like a new feature into the future. So like also new design, and then like some UX changes as well. Like instead of the homepage being like a page with a bunch of stuff that people don't really like ever really look at or interact, we'll make it a lot more simplified. And so that's kind of like something that would also have design. And that's kind of like where we're going. So I just, you know, took 5 minutes to throw way more information at your already fatigued brains, but it gives me some level of like everyone at least heard it. So yeah. I'm gonna the link to this alignment call notes is there in the chat, so you could go in there and add your comments. I'm gonna work on converting at least this like very MVP scope into like clear issues so that we can kind of start sprint planning. And then to your earlier question, Mary Jeff, I mean, I think by next week we can start like really assigning things. I hope even by sooner I can have these issues, but it's gonna take me a little bit to put them apart. But yeah. Questions, thoughts?
No, from my side.
Okay, well, I hope you all have a nice rest of your night. I'm sorry for bombarding you and overwhelming you, but I hope it was helpful. And then in some way you're feeling more aligned.
Actually, I have a question about third web, but I think everyone is fatigued. Maybe the others can go, and I will ask it from you.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Fine for me. Thank you for all explanation, answers.
Thanks, everyone. Okay, so if you don't want to hear about third web and keep talking, then you're very free to go. Make comments in the Notion if you have questions. We'll be in touch. Bye.
Thank you. I think everybody has run out of glucose. So bye-bye.
I'm gonna feel bad.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
See you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, Ramin, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, third web creates or generates a new wallet address by each third web ID. Like when I log into Giveth by third web, it generates a specific wallet address for me. And when I log into Trigen's app via third web, I have another. Actually, it creates another wallet address for me. So if I mean users can have or donors may face the consolidating problem because they may use third web on other apps, but then they have to move their funds to their other accounts on the Giveth.
I think yes, they won't be able to reuse the third web account. This is another thing that Unicorn addresses and solves, right? Is like this middle layer where if you have an ETH Denver account, you're also going to have the Polygon.ac account, and the money will transfer over. Most people do not use third web, and so it's not really a worry. Also, we don't really expect people to hold money in their Giveth account. It's more like they want to make a donation, so they need to buy fiat and then spend it.
I think
But then they will receive Give tokens in that wallet, so they'll be using it to manage their Give tokens, which really won't be in other third web wallets. So I don't see the fact that they will have other third web accounts and it's like, oh no, they're going to have multiple wallets. It's really like, I have an Amazon account and I have a gift card balance there and I can't use it anywhere else. And that's okay.
yeah.
What do you, does that address your question, Ramin?
Yeah, I think for onboarding Web2 users, it definitely make everything much simpler because users can log in with their Gmail account or Facebook, or even without having an email, like with passkeys on their phone. They can very easily generate valid address. And the good thing is we do not have access to their private key, so we don't have the risk of users losing their assets by use. I mean, that's the good point.
But isn't the question like more about from the perspective of a project owner? Like if we're going to, because I think Griff, at some point you were saying that you wanted to basically like force project owners to create an account abstracted wallet so that the funds management and stuff is like easier.
Yeah, because we're going to want to have certain features for them that, number one, we can make a profit off of, and number two, make their life way easier. No, the big one being consolidating all of your donations into one withdraw, and so these are things that we can control if we have our own third web implementation and the user has a new wallet. And I think it's okay that it's an in-app wallet. And if the project owner has another third web wallet with some video game that they're playing, I don't think they're really going to be like disappointed that they can't use the same wallet.
My concern is like regarding the security of third web wallets. Like, I don't love the sign in with Google because like my Google password to me doesn't feel safe, right? Like, not the same as like a seed phrase or private key,
It's true, and this is something that we can also address if we want. We can add like 2FA features if they have a certain amount, and like we can support them better in managing their security than they can with a MetaMask address. That's for sure. Like they don't need to be hyper secure. Your Google, if they have $20 in there, your Google password being insecure doesn't really matter. If they have $20,000 in there,
Yeah.
what?
Exactly, hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, if someone raises hundreds of thousands of dollars on Giveth and doesn't withdraw it, that's first off, fuck yes. Second, we need to like support them in being secure, and we can better do that if they have a third web wallet than if they have a MetaMask. Because honestly, I think they're worse off with, like, again, if they have a third web wallet with us and they go and they click a phishing link, they can't connect to it, right? They can't lose their money. If they have a third web wallet with us and they want to do something, buy a shitcoin with their money. Oh, guess what? They can't speculate with our wallet. Like there's all sorts of ways that our project, if someone convinces them to buy this thing or that thing, they have a lot of like ways not to lose money if we have an embedded wallet that is just only used with us. So
Yeah.
I see it as really protecting them way better than any other MetaMask or any of these other wallet solutions out there. Besides other, Magic Link versus Third Web versus Privy, but yeah.
Okay.
I think maybe we can make that optional because the new backend is now engineered in a way that one user can connect different wallets. So only the user ID matters, and we have a separate table to collect wallet addresses for one user. So each user can log in via different wallet addresses. So we can make that an option for actually for project owners to connect their third web wallet address, and after that, yeah.
So you're saying if you have another Third Web wallet address, you can connect it here?
Yes, they can connect EOA, both EOA and the third web.
I really, really don't want us to add an option for project owners to connect EOAs.
I think it's good to have it built in the architecture. Maybe we don't want to offer it as a feature, but it can be handled in the front end. I do think it's important architecture. Like I don't love we can't build our entire new app with a dependency on like another service that like may or may not whatever, I know Third Web's been around for a while, but I don't trust any of these things. Like things just fall apart. So, I think like that. Do we want to force project owners to only ever use Third Web? Like maybe, but like having it like built in the backend architecture that like they could add an EOA is totally good.
I think that if we choose Third Web or whatever we end up choosing, we'll be in a place where we are dependent on them. And if they go down, it's like we have to deal with that either way, And it won't be like, oh, good thing we have this backend architecture that allows us to use an EOA. New projects that are created, you can still do it with a MetaMask. It's like that doesn't really solve anything for us. Like we'll have this huge problem of like, oh, we have all of our projects, they can't access their wallet. Well, of course they can, but they have to use this other weird website that's not their normal website, or we have to figure out how to replace certain Third Web infrastructure that we use because they will still control their wallets, right? If Third Web goes down, it means that it will be difficult to reach your wallet, but Third Web can't steal your money, right? You just temporarily would lose access to it until we build the replacement for it, or it's kind of like going to Etherscan to like access a smart contract. It won't be that easy, unfortunately, because there's certain things that they're providing that are really the paymaster infrastructure and this sort of stuff. But yeah, there are countless projects that are way bigger than us. And like we're talking Polymarket, for instance. You cannot use Polymarket, which has billions of dollars of volume, without using Magic Dolly. So I'm sure that we can, if they can do it, I think we can too.
I'd like to wrap up this call. I am also feeling really like burnt out, and it's like, I don't know, whatever about third web. Like this is also like not in the MVP. We definitely need to think about it, but I don't think we need to keep having this conversation exactly right now. Can we wrap up? Are you guys okay to wrap up?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to start putting this Notion doc into issues, and then I think we could even just schedule like another call just like this, either later this week or next week. I'll see how fast I can kind of like start converting those things. And yeah. Oh, I guess like one quick question. We have this like QF rebuild DM that currently right now only has basically like Ali, Ramin, Griff Gardner, and me. Should we use that as kind of like our central point of chat for this in the early stages so that we get Griff's attention on things? Or would you guys rather try to use like the all devs channel instead? Because if the former, then I can add, I'll add, you know, Mary Jaff and Ketchy and Kai and Madi into that chat.
I think the group chat is more organized.
Okay. I will put everyone in the group chat then. And we could also continue this conversation there.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
also
thank you.
Grit is more reachable in that group.
Totally. I know for the early phases, I think it's important to have like Griff being able to see stuff, and he won't see it if it's in the chat here. So it's happening. I'm adding people there. Well, thanks everybody for joining the call today. I'm sorry it got like so long, but I feel like we made some good progress. So we'll
Thanks, Lauren.
talk soon. Bye.
Thank you for managing this great.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a great
Bye.
evening. Bye bye.
Goodbye.